Hey, I don't mean to brag. My favorite baseball team won a game today. Let's talk about it on All Dodgers. What's up, Dodger fans? This is the All Dodgers podcast, part of the Believe network of podcasts, brought to you by FanDuel. I am Jeff Snider. You may know me from such places as this podcast and that other podcast I used to do. I am here solo tonight on Sunday evening to, what's that? Talk about a Dodgers win. I see that my headline went over really well with everybody about the Dodgers having a nice, boring win. Michael DeGrady seems to think that I wanted an exciting loss. But no, Michael, I will give you a break because no, I said on yesterday's show that I was hoping for an angry win today where the Dodgers would score, 12 runs, just come out angry about the way the previous night ended. And in hindsight, I feel like this might have been better. Just a nice, boring win where the Dodgers just came out and said, look, we're better than the Orioles, so we're going to score more runs than them, and we're going to win the game. And it wasn't flashy. It wasn't emotion-driven. Like, if they had scored 12 runs, it would be like, okay, well, that's great that you can do that when you're angry. Now can you do it every day? This just felt like an everyday win where, hey, let's score 5 or 6 runs and hold the other team to just a couple, and we'll win the game. And that should be this Dodgers team formula. With this pitching staff, this offense, they should just go out there and just kind of boringly be better than the teams they're playing, especially a last place team. It's obviously there's some sarcasm at the beginning when I, said I don't mean to brag because, yeah, the Dodgers did just win 1 game out of 3 in a series against a bad Orioles team. Now, the Orioles probably aren't as bad as their record says. They've played much better the last couple months. Same things we could say about whoever it was they just got beat by, the Pirates. They're better than their overall record shows. They've been better lately, blah, 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 blah. Both teams still, on paper, aren't as good as the Dodgers and shouldn't be as good as the Dodgers if the Dodgers are playing Dodgers baseball. And so what we saw today on Sunday was just kind of a business-like, workman-like game where they just went out and took care of it. And a big reason for that was that the Hall of Famers did Hall of Fame things. You look at, the Dodgers have 4 future Hall of Famers playing in today's lineup, counting the starting pitcher, Clayton Kershaw. And then 3 of the 4 took care of business. Kershaw was great. Great through 5 innings, ran into some trouble in the 6th, and ended up not getting through the 6th inning. The bullpen came in and did their job, did a great job shutting things down. But Kershaw, one Hall of Famer, did his job. Ohtani and Betts, both future Hall of Famers, both played like it. Ohtani was on base all 5 times, 2 homers and 3 walks. Mookie was 2 for 5, a home run and an RBI single. I guess we're going to quibble with one thing about the Hall of Famers. Maybe it's Shohei Ohtani's base running on Mookie's single that was almost his second home run. Instead, it was off the wall, and he had to stop at first because Shohei stopped at second. But in the end, it was, that's a quibble. It didn't affect the outcome of the game, and hopefully he'll learn from that. Freddie Freeman's the only future Hall of Famer in the lineup today who didn't do anything. He went 0 for 5 with a strikeout, which is fine when the other 3 Hall of Famers do. And then the rest of the team kind of pitched in too. Kike Hernandez is the only one besides Freddie Freeman who didn't have a hit today. Kike and Freddie both didn't do much. Didn't do anything. Everybody else did something to contribute to this. Even Ben Rortvedt got his second hit with the Dodgers. Was going to sacrifice bunt, but then he didn't end up needing to because the catcher threw the ball away. So the Dodgers took advantage of a mistake from that. Hae-Sung Kim obviously didn't intend to get the opposing starting pitcher out of the game early, but hit a ball off the opposing pitcher's foot, got him out of the game early, gets a base hit there. All in all, just kind of a good team victory. And Paul Padau, Padau Amanda Cha in the chat. This is kind of a good way to put it. It says, I'm still traumatized from yesterday's game, but good win today. We definitely have a lot of work left to do. And yeah, the past is in the past. There's no matter what the Dodgers do the rest of the season, Saturday night's game is one that we will look back on as like, oh, remember that terrible game? Even if the Dodgers win the World Series this year, it'll make it feel a little bit better, but it'll still be, remember when Yamamoto almost had that no-hitter? I think if the Dodgers were to win the World Series this year, I think the loss from last night will feel, it'll be kind of like last year's game against the Padres when the Padres ended the game on the triple play. It was one of those things. Once the Dodgers knocked the Padres out of the playoffs and then went on to win the World Series, we can just look back at that ridiculous game and just laugh. But until then, the loss is going to hurt no matter what happens. But even if the Dodgers do win the World Series this year, I think Yamamoto missing out on the no-hitter is something that's going to sting for a long time. Hopefully Yamamoto will get another chance to throw a no-hitter with the Dodgers, and maybe we look back and, because, losing out on no-hitters, it's kind of funny that happened yesterday because today is the 13-year anniversary of when I was at a game in person in San Francisco when Yusmeiro Petit of the Giants came within 1 out of a perfect game. In fact, came within inches. Eric Chavez, pinch hitting for the Diamondbacks, hit a base hit to right field. The Hunter Pence came within a couple inches of catching. And obviously, a game between the Giants and the Diamondbacks, I didn't have a rooting interest. But in that game where neither team was going to make the playoffs and I have a chance to see a perfect game in person, yeah, I was rooting for the perfect game. And so that popped up on my Facebook memories today after last night's game. Maybe it's something about early September. I don't know. But all in all, my point there is that there are things the Dodgers can do to make last night's loss not sting. There's nothing they can do to take away fully the sting of Yamamoto's near no-hitter and debates about should Andy Pajes have gone harder for it will rage, I'm sure, and that's fine. But today, there was a new game on the schedule, and you can either be grumpy about the last game or you can be, you can go take care of business the next day. I'm going to, let's go ahead and talk about that taking care of business because Dave Roberts said, so there's an article by Jack Harris in the LA Times, and he quoted Dave Roberts. He said, "It's not a surprise how we responded." This was after today's game. Roberts said, "There was no panic. There was just preparation. I like the way our guys weren't downtrodden. We were up, looking forward to playing a ball game to win a game, and that's a tell that we have confidence still in the room. It speaks to the character." And obviously, when it's come from Dave Roberts, that's a very Dave Roberts quote, right down to the sentence starting with "it speaks to the," very much a Dave Roberts quote. But yeah, it seems accurate based on what we could see on the field that the Dodgers came back and said, okay, well, yesterday's done. Now what can we do today? And in that same article, there's an interesting quote from Mookie Betts that I'm going to pop up on the screen here. It was a tough loss yesterday. Shortstop Mookie Betts said, especially what Yoshi did. Everybody was so excited and happy for him. And to lose, that was tough. So it was pretty down. Sunday morning, however, Betts said the mood in the clubhouse had rebounded. There's a lot of vets in here and a lot of guys that know how to handle bad situations, he said. So this morning, everything was great. The vibes were high. Vibes is a fun word. It's a popular word among the kids these days. And by kids, I mean, people Mookie Betts' age and younger. Us old people only say it when we want to pretend we're cool. But yeah, this looked like a team when they never looked like a team that was on a 5-game losing streak with all 5 of those games being against last place teams. That could be a very demoralizing situation to be in. And that's not what they look like. And so, happy vibes makes for a happy win. And yeah, it's something we needed as fans. I think we can all agree as Dodger fans that we needed a win. And now we need more, honestly. We need a winning streak or at least a really good stretch of games where they win a lot more than they lose, basically for the rest of the season. That's what we need here. Right now, they are a game ahead of the Giants in the National League West. I guess that's as good a time as any to look at the FanDuel odds for the National League West, because it does continue to. It's weird how it fluctuates, and obviously, keep in mind the betting odds is just what they set to make sure that they have people betting on both teams. But the Dodgers are at minus 280 to win the division right now, which seems about right. That because they do have the tiebreaker, they're a game up. There's more games off the schedule now. It's one of those things. If you want to look at FanGraphs, it's actually based on projections, actually simulated games. Dodgers are back up to 99.2% to make the playoffs. You remember they had dropped down to 98.8 the other night. They're at 78.4% to win the division. The Giants have snuck back in with a 0.1% chance to win the division. Not impossible, but still seems very unlikely. Dodgers currently are only at 20.9% on FanGraphs to have a bye in the first round. And that's, right now they are, I believe they're 4 games behind the Phillies in the chase for the number 2 seed. Yeah, they're 4 games back of the Phillies. Obviously they have a 3-game series with the Phillies coming up. And so a lot can happen there. But they are going to have to, sweep that series or do a lot of work before then. Bruce in the chat says, Jeff, like I said, I don't care about them stats. Thanks for the input, Bruce. Thanks for being here, even though I talk about things you don't like sometimes. The fact is, like we talked about last night, all these simulations and projections, they're based on the actual rosters. And the fact is, those are going to treat this Dodgers team like it's good, because the players on this Dodgers team should be a good team. And so what we saw today was a pretty good team between the starting pitching, the bullpen, the offense. Today was a good win by a good baseball team. Now, can the Dodgers be a good baseball team several days in a row? That remains to be seen. They haven't done that in a while, but I guess now is as good a time as any to get ready to talk about the help that is on the way. But first, I do want to talk to you about our sponsor, Delete Me. If I can get that on the screen, because Delete Me makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. Data brokers, their job is to sell your data. Whether it's legally obtained or illegally obtained, data brokers make a profit off your data. Your data is a commodity, and anyone on the web can buy your private details. This can lead to awful things like identity theft and phishing attempts and harassment. It can even lead to just annoying things like spam calls, and that aren't illegal, but they're annoying. Well, the good news is you can take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. And now, at a special discount for our listeners, today you can get 20% off your Delete Me. You can get 20% off your Delete Me plan by texting HIT, H-I-T, to 64000, 64000. The only way to get 20% off is to text HIT to 64000. That's HIT, H-I-T, to 64000. Message and data rates may apply. And jumping back into this, like I mentioned, the Dodgers have help coming on the way. We found out that Max Muncy and Alex Vesia will both be rejoining the team on Monday for the series against the Rockies. It's great news on both fronts. Alex Vesia has been one of the Dodgers' better relievers this year. He's had a couple slumps at times, and maybe a little time off maybe will help him reset there. If the slump was due to overuse or anything, maybe it was a good time for an injury since he is back. Both of these guys coming back from oblique strains, both Vesia and Muncy. Muncy obviously has been a huge catalyst for this Dodgers offense. I am really interested to see what happens with the Dodgers roster with Muncy coming back. We'll talk in a second about the bullpen roster too, because that'll be an interesting move too. But with Max Muncy coming back, there's only a couple options for what they can do. For right now, with Will Smith still, Will Smith didn't play this weekend. He was theoretically maybe available today, but they didn't need him as a pinch hitter. So the Dodgers have two catchers who realistically can't hit. Ben Rortvedt does have 2 hits with the Dodgers, and I absolutely appreciate the contributions that Rortvedt has made offensively with, moving runners over. If we could guarantee that every time Ben Rortvedt came to the plate, there would be runners on base and 0 outs, I'd be fine. Okay, let's sacrifice bunt him every time. He's not going to get those opportunities every time, but he has had 2 hits and he's scored both times that he got a hit. And so I appreciate that. He's still not anywhere near the hitter of a Will Smith or even a Dalton Rushing. And I assume he would even admit that. And then they have Chucky Robinson, who is the poor man's Ben Rortvedt, who is already the poor man's somebody else. And so until Will Smith is ready to actually play catcher, both of those guys are going to need to be on the roster, it kind of locks down. They're currently carrying 3 catchers on the active roster. And so realistically, there's only 2 options for when Max Muncy comes back: to make room on the 26-man roster, assuming there's no injuries we don't know about yet, which unfortunately with the Dodgers, that's never a safe assumption. But as far as we know, everybody else on the team is healthy. And so we're looking at either Justin Dean or Michael Conforto loses their spot on the active roster. Justin Dean, we saw today's lineup for the Dodgers, which it's funny that today was the day that they took care of business offensively, because when the lineup came out, people were not happy. People are still not happy that Michael Conforto batted cleanup. Jeff Spiegel kind of poked the bear, somewhat tongue-in-cheek, pointed out that the Dodgers are 5-0 this year when Michael Conforto bats cleanup. Of course, Conforto today, he was 2 for 4 with a walk. He was on base 3 times. He did hit into a double play. Only his second one in the last 2 months. The double play was a huge issue for Conforto earlier in the season. Hasn't been lately, but today he did hit into a double play. But yeah, Michael Conforto wasn't the reason Dodgers won today. He didn't drive in a run or score a run, but he did get on base 3 times, But anyway, but in this lineup that felt to a lot of people like a punt lineup, even then Justin Dean couldn't get an at-bat. And that kind of tells you about Justin Dean's role on this team, which we already knew. Justin Dean is here to play late inning defense and to pinch run. And he did do one of those today. He did come in, replaced Conforto in the outfield today. They put Dean in center field and moved Kike Hernandez over to left field. Interestingly, I guess I should have mentioned, both Teoscar Hernandez and Andy Pages had the day off today. Both of them have been struggling mightily, and it was definitely interesting to give them both the day off on the same day, but it all worked out. But and still, so with 2 of your starting 3 outfielders on the bench, Justin Dean still couldn't get into starting lineup, so he's not ever going to play. But I'm still I'm torn. I've said before, I thought that when Max Muncy came back, that is when they would pull the trigger on Michael Conforto, because Conforto is, regardless of what he's done lately, he's now up to 4 hits in his last 18 at bats, which is almost respectable, but not. He is what he is. And it's really hard to see this guy having a role on the team in October. And so I still kind of feel that way, that they just bite the bullet when Muncy comes back. Because if they send Justin Dean down, well then when Tommy Edman comes back later this week, then it becomes really easy to say, oh, good, and Will Smith's back, so now we'll just send Chucky Robinson down. And at that point, Michael Conforto would have dodged that bullet. But as we talked about, when Muncy comes back, and especially when Edman comes back too, there is no longer a starting role for Michael Conforto on this team, unless they replace Teoscar Hernandez with him, because believe it or not, Teoscar has hit worse than Conforto lately. But there's just not going to be room. Tommy Edman's going to be starting in center field, which bumps Andy Pages to one of the corner outfield spots, which bumps one of them out. And it's going to be Conforto who gets dropped out of the starting lineup. And once Conforto's not in the starting lineup, he doesn't bring anything to the team. You can't bring him in for late inning defense because he's not a great defender. You can't bring him in to pinch run because he's one of the slowest guys on the team. Do you bring him in to pinch hit? Like late inning, Kike Hernandez is up to bat against a tough righty. Do you say, okay, let's go to Michael Conforto? No, because Michael Conforto has been bad against righties and lefties this year. And so once he's not a starter, it's like, I don't see a role for him. And maybe I'm wrong. I just don't see it. And so I'm interested to see tomorrow, Monday morning, early afternoon, when we do get the official announcement that Max Muncy and Alex Vesia have been reinstated to the active roster, that they will, who will it be? Will it be Justin Dean or will it be Michael Conforto? That'll be interesting to see. We're going to talk about Vesia in a second and the corresponding roster move. Want to jump in the chat a little bit. Matty Man 5 Dodge says, Jeff, why do you think Pages sat today? I think Pages sat today because Pages has been hitting very, very poorly lately. There was a right-hander on the mound. It was, hey, you know what? You've been really bad. Pages has, his refusal to take a walk has been infuriating lately. I know he wants to hit, and I know when he is hitting well, I want him swinging the bat. But right now, we need you on base, buddy. And so I think today was just a reset day for him and Teoscar Hernandez. I'm not sure if Matty Man's question has a hidden question. And Matty Man, correct me if I'm wrong. I wonder if there is a hint in there of did Andy Pages sit today because of his lack of effort on the Jackson Holiday home run last night. I doubt that had anything to do with it. The fact is, we talked about this last night on the show, and that was kind of Matty Man says that wasn't the subtext of his question, which is good. I guess I just segued into talking about that anyway. But we talked about it on the show last night, and then I was texting with some friends and people who were at the game, people who weren't at the game, a lot of people about that play last night, that home run. And what I said last night was, I don't think that Andy Pages had any realistic chance of catching that ball, but I still want to see him going all out trying to catch it. There's a 1% chance that you get your Dwayne Wise moment when Dwayne Wise robbed the home run to save Mark Burley's. I think that was a perfect game. It's at least a no-hitter. I don't remember if that was his perfect game or just his regular no-hitter. But Court the Crusader in the chat says he does think that Pages sat because of the lack of effort on the home run ball. And, but I don't think that was it, but I definitely would have liked to see Andy Pages go all out for that. He played it off the wall like he was hoping to throw Jackson Holiday out at second. And in that situation, even though, I think he was playing shallow to avoid the no-hitter getting broken up by a fluky bloop single. So he had a long way to go, but watching it, you can see he slowed up. And at that point, I think you go all out. I mean, the legitimate attempt at a home run robbery that outfielders do. You got to understand the situation. Yes, it's a personal accomplishment. In the moment, there was no real reason to think that that home run was going to lead to the Dodgers losing the game. Unfortunately, it did. But in the moment, but as a teammate, yeah, you want to see Andy Pages going up there and giving his all to rob that home run. Like I said, I don't think it would have happened. I don't think he had any realistic chance of robbing that homer. But I think we would all feel better about it if he had given it his full effort, because then at least you could say, well, he tried. Kudos to Pages. That's how much he cares about his teammate, that he went, even without much of a chance, he gave it his all to try to rob that thing. That's what we should have been saying after that, instead of, I guess he probably didn't have a chance, so I guess it makes sense that he didn't. Matty Man says, I'm not sure Pages knew that Yoshi had a no-hitter at that point. LOL. Clint made that point last night, I think. I'm positive he did. Everybody knew what was at stake, and Part of the reason they had moved Pages to right field and put Justin Dean in center was to get the best defensive alignment out there. Saw so many of the comments of our YouTube episode from last night saying that putting Andy Pages in right and Justin Dean in center was a big mistake by Dave Roberts because that cost them, because Pages didn't rob the home run and then Justin Dean didn't throw the guy out at home on the play. And it's like, you know what? Pages wouldn't have thrown that dude out at home if he had been playing center, and Teo definitely wouldn't have robbed that homer if he had been playing right. So, yeah, they put their best defensive outfield out there, and it didn't work. But yeah, for vibes or for appearances or whatever, yeah, I wish Andy Pages had gone harder after that ball and done everything. I see in the chat. Somebody said the audio is cutting out. Yeah, this is a YouTube issue. If you are having audio issues, just hit refresh on your feed. I don't know why YouTube does it. Everything's working fine on my end, and it's not happening for everybody. And so this is just hit refresh and that should fix it, because this is on YouTube's side of things. So getting back to the Alex Vesia thing, because Alex Vesia also coming back, this is where it gets a little bit more interesting, because there are no Justin Dean, Michael Conforto types who are obvious candidates to get sent to the minors when Alex Vesia comes back. In fact, there's only a couple of guys who can be sent to the minors. Now, it often with the Dodgers, what happens when somebody comes back from injury is somebody else goes down with injury, or somebody's wife has a baby or something, and so we don't know of any injuries, we don't know of any wives who are about to have babies, and so somebody is going to lose their spot on the roster. And you look at the guys who have minor league options are Ben Kasparius, Jack Dreyer, Edgardo Enriquez, Emmett Sheehan, Justin Robleski. I'm pretty sure I'm just looking at the current 13 pitchers on the roster. I'm pretty sure those are the 5 guys who have minor league options. None of those guys necessarily, sorry, I just glanced at the chat. EB giving the technical explanation for why the audio is bad, although it is the incorrect explanation, because the fact is it is not from my end. It's on YouTube's side of things. But of those 5 guys, you can't really say that any of them deserve to be sent to the minors. And where we're at right now in the schedule, if somebody gets sent to the minors, they have to be down for 15 days unless there's an injury for somebody they're replacing. And so this is kind of a meaningful moment for the Dodgers in this with Alex Vesia coming back, because it's not like they're locking in their roster for the rest of the season, but it is, most of the rest of the regular season, this will be the decision. And with Vesia really being the only guy coming back for sure, this will be an interesting one. They could say, hey, Kirby Yates, thanks for the memories, but your back hurts again. But Kirby Yates did look good in the one blowout game that he did pitch in. And so, maybe he found something. I said last week, Kirby Yates is the guy I have the least confidence in. Elisheva points out in the chat that Alex Vesia's wife's due date is very soon. And yeah, but they've said Vesia is coming back tomorrow. So Vesia going on the paternity list won't be the corresponding move for Vesia being activated tomorrow. Now, it does bring up an interesting point. I don't know if they were to send somebody like Edgardo Enriquez or Justin Robleski to the minors, does that... I know that somebody can come back up in case of injury. I'm not sure if they can come back up in case of paternity. I'd have to look into that. That's a roster rule that I don't know off the top of my head. But anyway, back to the Kirby Yates conversation. They could pull the trigger on just dropping Kirby Yates. That doesn't feel as likely to me, especially when you do have potential for injuries. If you dump Kirby Yates right now, especially after he did start showing signs of getting better when you do have guys who can be sent to the minors. So I'm guessing it'll be one of those 5 guys going to the minor leagues. My guess, I think, would be Enriquez, just because he's the youngest. He is still a work in progress. We saw today he came in. He was the first reliever of Clayton Kershaw. He allowed Kershaw's second run to come in. Enriquez has obviously electric stuff, hasn't totally put it together to find the strikeout stuff, and the command isn't great all the time. And so ultimately, Enriquez might make the most sense to send him back to the minors. Robleski did pitch multiple innings today, and so just from a workload standpoint, he wouldn't be surprising. But all in all, it is going to be an interesting one, because if Kirby Yates survives tomorrow, then yeah, it seems like the Dodgers are still hoping that he's going to turn into the good version of Kirby Yates. And the fact is, there have been times this year when his splitter was working that he has been the good version of Kirby Yates. And so if he can get that splitter back, he could actually be good. Tanner Scott isn't going anywhere unless it was an injury, but there's no sign that he's injured. He's still throwing hard. The stuff still looks like what it is. And so he's not going anywhere. No, he'll have to perform if he wants to be on the postseason roster, but he's probably going to be there too, just, looking at who they have available. But getting Vesia back, whoever he replaces, Vesia is kind of a glue guy in the bullpen. He's been one of their best and most reliable relievers all season long. And so that's going to be really good. We'll see if they take into account the left-handedness because of those guys I mentioned who have minor league options. Dreyer and Robleski are the 2 lefties. Hard to see them sending Dreyer down. Dreyer's been in the big leagues all year and has been another one of their best relievers this year. So unless it was a workload thing, hey, why don't you take a week off from everything and then, throw a couple games in AAA and we'll get you back up here in 2 weeks. But I don't think that's super likely. So yeah, I think it's probably Robleski or Henriquez tomorrow when Vesia comes back. With that said, I'm trying to think, I'm just going to jump in the chat, see if there's anything else if in the chat that we want to address, because that's the main stuff I want to talk about today. The fact that the Dodgers won a game, had good vibes, have help coming on the way, and legitimate, realistic help. This isn't a case of, we're getting somebody back from the injured list. Good. This is Max Muncy and Alex Vesia. This is, arguably, a top couple offensive player for them and easily a top couple reliever for them coming back. With that said, yeah, it looks like most of the comments are about YouTube's audio issues. I wish there was something I could do about that here on my end. I'm just talking straight into my microphone like I do every time. So I'm sorry about that. I know that it's playing right. So yeah, sorry about that. I apologize on YouTube's behalf. But with that said, I think that'll probably wrap things up for me. Relatively short episode today. I did see somebody asking earlier where Clint was today. Sundays are often just going to be me. Clint does the Saturday show without me, the All Dodgers After Dark in the morning, and kind of our agreement when we teamed up was that he would handle Saturdays and I'd handle Sundays. And obviously he has jumped on at times on Sundays because sometimes there's stuff he wants to talk about, and he's always welcome on Sundays. But when he doesn't want to be here, he's not, and he's got stuff going on this weekend. So it's just me today, and I appreciate you guys being here. If you haven't heard, next Saturday evening, 6 days from now, the 13th of September, we will be, I tried to get this up here, a graphic, so I could put it in, and I never did get it set up for a graphic, but we will be having a live watch party in Pico Rivera at the golf course, the Pico Rivera golf course. Let me see if I can at least pull up the graphic so I can read you all the information about it. Pico Rivera Golf Club on Saturday, September 13th, First pitch of the game, we'll be watching the Dodgers-Giants game together. They'll be in San Francisco, but we'll be watching the game together. Game starts at 6:05. Happy hour from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. There will be food, giveaways, and then we will be recording a live episode of this very podcast. So I guess next Saturday I will be involved. I guess I was involved this last Saturday too because there was news and I did a pregame show. But we will be doing a live episode in front of you, the studio audience, on Saturday evening from the Pico Rivera Golf Club. So come join us there. No cost to get in, just, buying your foods and drinks. Come have a beer with Clint or a Diet Coke with me, or I'll probably be mostly having water. That's my favorite drink. But, whatever it is, we'd love to see you there. So come on out and join us there. I think that's going to... Manuel is my biggest fan in the chat. Says, this show needs Clint. Manuel has devoted his life to making sure that I know that he doesn't like me as a podcaster. And yet, here he is watching the show. Hate to tell you this, Manuel, you are not putting your money where your mouth is, and you are here. So thank you for your undying support, Manuel, and the rest of you. Thank you for all being here on this Sunday evening. Thanks to the chat. Thanks to the moderators. I appreciate that. Bruce Davis says, let's have a water bottle together. Absolutely. Love me some water. In fact, I'll probably have my trusty Stanley tumbler with me. But I'll be drinking water out of something. Probably will have a Diet Coke or two because I'm probably going to be tired, But so come out and join us. Thanks to everybody for being here. Go Dodgers. Hopefully now they get to take on the Rockies, and hopefully they can create a winning streak out of this one-game win and maybe start putting some space between them and the Padres. Speaking of that, before I sign off, I have no idea who the Padres play next. Padres play the Reds. Reds are battling for a wild card spot. Hopefully the Reds can help us out and the Dodgers can do their job and take care of the teams that they should beat. That'll do it for me. We will talk to you again on, probably tomorrow after the Dodgers-Rockies game. So that's it. Bye.